Hello, welcome back. So I'm going to read part 3 of the short story Tricky, and this short story can be found in my sister's voice. I've shown it to you in some other videos, the book, and so I trust that I will not show you that to you today, but you know the name, right? My sister's voice, my sister's voice, my sister's voice by Martin Boyce, my sister's voice by Martin Boyce, sister's voice by... And I promised that I would not perform, because like on my other platforms, I do a lot of that. And I just want to be, I was going to say myself, but maybe being myself is a little performative. Anyway, so this is part 3, Tricky. Tricky part 3. But later that day, Red Man, Tricky's voice. He was already off the road and bopping up one side of the driveway's grass mohawk. He was bare-chested. He was barefoot. My insides fell out. I didn't know where to look because he'd caught me putting a cigarette in my mouth. I balanced it behind my ear in time to extend my hand in a fist to bounce his. "What are you doing up this side?" he asked. I found and gave a response automatically, as if outside of myself watching someone else, who was also me, have a conversation. Few memories made at this time belonged to me. Soon after, he came around and up the 3 shallow steps to the inside of the decorative wall. It was a wall made up of blocks that together reminded me of ladybirds, seen from above. The air that stole from him gave me the scent of soap used for keeping shirts so white they are blue. He passed in front of me and pulled the aluminum chair close, touching his knee against mine. "Man, you got a good deal. Someplace to bring the girls." Tricky was all teeth when he said this. He didn't trust them though. "I would never kiss a woman on she lips." "Well, I know what she mouth was," he said. He tapped my knee with the back of his hand whenever he started speaking, and I would replay that instead of listening to him. He reached over, took the cigarette from behind my ear, moved to the opening leading onto the steps, and lit the cigarette. I averted my eyes, but just as I had attempted not to examine the way he bounced up and down around people on and off the bus, I failed to keep them averted. His navel formed an ahoba. What do you call that? The at symbol, right? And his muscles, how they pushed out against the skin with nothing but bamboo rods for veins between the two. He had the body of someone who makes money by climbing trees for coconuts they then husk with their bare hands. What a body. In the sky's costume of oranges and pinks as the sun set, I saw, tracing his shoulder and arm, small, sometimes silver, sometimes gold hairs I'd seen before on peaches, ill-suited to growing in our harsh climate. "Yeah, father," he said. "But father," he said. By the time I stopped growing, I eventually commented, I'd long decided to be my own father, since mine is still a little boy. I paused to think about the words I'd use and how strange it sounded coming out of me. As my own father, I tried teaching myself to be a man, but I think I'm not very good at it either, I said, to finish hearing myself. Tricky spat. The saliva hit the concrete, forming a web which remained connected to the lips that had spun it by a beaded thread. "I don't even know who my father is," he said, passing the back of his hand across his mouth. "Yeah, soldier, you got anything to eat?" were the next words I heard him say when he returned because he was starving. I unlocked the door in a daze, told him to help himself, and returned to my dark room. Tricky had hit his cousin in the face with a gun butt until his cousin might never again be able to say anything believed to be deserving of such a reprimand. His family had let loose their opinions and physically removed him from the house, and he had nowhere to hide from the police. All this on a recent night when Tricky was not with me. I shook my head as I lowered it, thinking of the gun. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see Tricky's gun until the wanton was as difficult to ignore as thirst. It could have been that I'd only ever seen one on television, so guns weren't real to me, and maybe I wanted Tricky to change the fabric of what I'd seen but was not yet real to me. I decided finally to agree with my desire to see it. Tricky said he would show it to me the following night. However, he went missing for several nights. It was not unusual for him to say he would do something and not do it. It was not unusual for me to know this and still expect him to do what he said he would. My life had become one long night. I lived in the office's artificial sunlight, leaving when the real star, the giver of life, was parading a different costume over the horizon. Then I would rush home to my love, the first cigarette of the day. In this tide, this ebb and flow of night, of smoke, sometimes I imagine the black ants were spiders wrapping clusters of cells in tar until they were pearls of cancer in my chest. In my chest. Black pearls from which starless nights emerged, like this one, the chill of an early morning, but a roof over the heads of demons. A place from which the disembodied emerged, resembling the thing you would follow into the darkness, to be kept there, eternally guessing at a way out. At the end of my walk through the neighborhood, I knew he was that shadow behind me, the way in which, with my eyes closed, I could touch any part of my body. It was as if we'd never been entirely separate, only increasing the amount of space between us, the difference between ice and water's microscopic parts. I just play along. Tricky was trying to scare me. It was the kind of thing he would find funny. Then we were facing each other. He pointed the gun at me, and I knew that if he wasn't trying to scare me, I was about to die. My heart swelled rapidly until I gulped air. The thought asked him what he was doing, but my heart sent tremors that interrupted my words. I put my hand up, as if it could protect my face from a bullet, as if it had telekinetic powers. Then, a transfusion of calm coursing perhaps from his veins through mine as I looked up at him, sucking on the cigarette and cocking the weapon. I was no longer afraid to kill. I had warned Tricky about this. As the voice in his head, I had become very difficult to ignore. Although we hadn't agreed on what we should do, I knew that, like the cigarette, if the gun were in his hand, it was also in mine. I had always been stronger than he. I forced the gun to his heart and, pulling the trigger, cleared a space for me to fully inhabit. And there you have it. That's part 3, the final part of Tricky, the short story, which can be found in my sister's voice again. I hope you enjoyed it. The usual spiel. If you did, comment, like, share, that sort of jazz. And I'm looking forward to sharing some more Red Ram realness with you here at Books by Boyce. So until next time.